Shalom Aleichem Internet, my name is Rabbi Sandor Gajzinski. It's a long time since we last did one of these videos, so let's jump right into it. This week's Torah portion is actually a double Torah portion. It's Parshat Achrei and Parshat Kedoshim. In Parshat Kedoshim, we have one of the most famous statements in the entire Torah, the statement, the commandment of the Ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your fellow as you love yourself. Fascinatingly, this is also connected with an event that occurs in this coming week. There's the holiday of Lag BaOmer, a day that we celebrate the end of a terrible plague that wiped out 24,000 students of the great Rabbi Akiva. The same Rabbi Akiva who said that this statement in this week's Torah portion of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, ze klal gadol b'Torah, he says, is one of the most important, if not the most important statement of the entire Torah. So we see a direct parallel between the Torah portion and its statements and an event that is occurring later this week. But that parallel actually is very perplexing. Why? Because the Talmud tells us what brought about this plague that wiped out the 24,000 students to begin with. And it was because these 24,000 students Lo nahagu kavod ze bazeh. They did not have proper respect one for another. There was a tremendous amount of acrimony among these students, which was in turn causing a great poison to settle among the Jewish people, because the Jewish people were looking up to these great sages for the way that they should act, and what they were sawing was having a very deleterious effect on the entire society of the Jewish people. And so all 24,000 died in the span of 1 month. That's almost 1,000 a day in a terrible plague. Now what is perplexing is Rabbi Akiva, their teacher, the one that they devoted their lives to his teachings, is the one who said that the most important statement of the entire Torah is to love your fellow as you love yourself, and yet it was his students in particular that failed so completely in having just a decent amount of respect one for the other? How does this happen? How do these 24,000 students miss the boat so utterly and completely? And the answer is really that they didn't miss the boat. In fact, what was the catalyst to the acrimony that eventually settled among them was that they were taking to heart this statement of Rabbi Akiva, to love their fellow as they love themselves. And when Rabbi Akiva would teach a lofty and an inspiring and a very deep idea in Torah, each one of them would sit and they would contemplate, and they would arrive at the way they understood it. And then immediately they said, it's not good enough for me to understand this and for me to take this to heart. I need to teach this principle to my fellow, to my colleague, because I love them as much as I love myself. And each student understood these ideas in their own particular fashion, and they would set about trying to teach the fellow student the right way to understand Rabbi Akiva's statement. In other words, how to see it the way they saw it. Now here's the problem that develops oftentimes. I might see it one way, my friend might see or understand something in a completely different fashion. But in this case, they were so bent on teaching their fellow the right way, they could not understand why their friend would insist on not learning it correctly. Why do you insist on not understanding it the way I'm trying to teach it to you and explain it to you? And in fact, in the meantime, that fellow was trying to teach him the way he saw it. And so very quickly it descended into tremendous acrimony, all because they were each trying, in the way they understood, to fulfill this statement of loving their fellow and, in a sense, taking care of and teaching their fellow the way they would think that they want to be taught. Except here's the big mistake and the secret. Just because I love somebody and care about somebody doesn't mean automatically that I'm going to approach them in the correct fashion. Oftentimes it's hard for us to understand that they might see something, or they might value something, or something might be more important to them based on their own particular unique nature. Oftentimes we think that the only way to understand something or to appreciate something is the way we understand it and we appreciate it. And oftentimes, because we care, we try to impose our viewpoints on others. We don't have a tolerance for a completely different viewpoint on a subject. We can't understand that something that might be foreign to me as a good idea, or as a correct idea, as a logical idea, might in fact be perfectly logical, correct, and the right thing for that individual. And so together with a love and a caring and a solicitude, there also needs to be respect. And that's where they failed. They had love for their fellow student, but they did not have respect. Respect means an understanding that even though they see things completely differently, they might just be as right as I am, or in fact more right. So may we understand that alongside our love and our caring and our solicitude for our fellow, for our children, for our parents, for our neighbor, there also needs to be a respect for a different opinion or viewpoint that might not be our own. So Shabbat Shalom, and I wish you all the very best.